My credit cards were maxed out. I couldn't afford groceries. I was living in downtown Denver, having fun, kinda, but broke. And I was talking to my dad, trying to find a job. And he's like, well, have you ever thought of real estate? I graduated from Coronado on the west side. And back then I just thought I'd got to go to college. So I went to big school, Arizona State for a couple of years, burned out on it. Wasn't quite what I was hoping it would be. Came back to Colorado and then ended up becoming a ski bum. Moved up to Summit County, did the housekeeping thing for a year or so. Then eventually I ended up at Loveland Ski Area as a group salesperson. During that whole time, I was still going to college at night. And also about that same time, I met this girl who I really liked. And she was a person that would keep me out of trouble. Someone who was way more responsible than I was, a better person than I was. And I'm like, that's the kind of person I need to marry. I chased her for at least a year before, I think she kind of started liking me back. I was kind of like, I guess I kind of grew on her like mold, Eventually she just kind of like, I'm not getting rid of this guy. So yeah, we got married in 2000. And then we had our first son in 2003. And my second son in 2004. Then we decided it would be best if she just was a stay-at-home mom and raised the kids. So, which was really ended up being a huge decision, but a great decision because, my kids, I didn't deserve the kids I ended up with, but my wife gets the credit for that because they turned out great. They turned out really good. One of the things I enjoy the most about this business is it allows me time to volunteer. The biggest one, I don't know, two of the biggest ones were, first one was the head coach of the Coronado soccer team. That was in 2018. But another one that I did was 2012, and it was scary. Remember it like it was yesterday. It was, from our office, you could see the fire. And unfortunately on that day, it was starting to burn back into the city. So that day when it came into the neighborhood, you could see houses burning and we all got evacuated. But with the way the winds were blowing, 347 homes were burnt to the ground. And you felt hopeless. I mean, when I came back to my house after being evacuated for 2 weeks, I had to get involved somehow to make myself feel better, but also to help my neighbors, the ones who lost everything and the ones who didn't lose everything. Because those of us who didn't lose anything, for that first year, we all thought we were stuck. We all figured our houses were worthless because nobody would want to move into that neighborhood with all the burnt out destruction around us. We were, hearing all these things that it'll never be the same. It'll take 10, 20 years for you to rebuild all those homes and rebuild that community because that's what it's taken everywhere else in the country to overcome a wildfire like that. And so I decided I wanted to get involved. I didn't want that to be the case in Colorado Springs or in my neighborhood in Mountain Shadows. The lady who was the president of the board, she and her husband had lost their house in the fire. And they had a lot of stress going on. And they had done amazing things for our community for the 10 years prior. But they needed to focus on getting their lives back together and their house rebuilt. So one of my neighbors, another lady named Nora, she and I said, "You want to do this together?" And we said, "Yeah, let's do this together." So we took on the president and vice president role of Mountain Shadows, and we're really involved in the rebuilding of Mountain Shadows. Luckily, the city came to our aid, the county came to our aid. Mayor Bach, who was the mayor at the time, put together a group called Colorado Springs Together, and because I was president of Mountain Shadows, I was part of that group to restore and rebuild Mountain Shadows. And within the first year, we had a handful of homes rebuilt in the first year. And within 2 years, we had over 60% of the homes rebuilt, which is unheard of. And 3 years later, pretty much anybody who wanted to rebuild had rebuilt.